good though? You already know who it is though. It's the one and only Twit. How you guys doing? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon video. Today we're going to be teaching you guys how to shiny hunt in Pokemon Sun and Moon because the method has most definitely changed. A lot of people have been testing this out and I waited to test this out 100% for myself before I made this video, and we did in fact get ourselves a shiny, which if you guys want to check that out, the link to the video will be in the description down below. So go check it out. It is a proven way that this method works. I'm excited, so let's go ahead and get on into it. Before we do that though, if you guys are hyped for this video and you guys do enjoy the tutorial, please consider giving it a big thumbs up because one like does go a long way, helps out the channel and the series itself, and of course the support is muchos gracias, appreciado. But that being said, let's go ahead and do this. So to start off, there's a couple things you're gonna want to have to do. You can get these adrenaline orbs, which is what you're definitely going to need, and you get them pretty early in the game. So you're going to have to beat, I believe, the first 2 to 3 trials on Melee Island, which is the very first island. Then you're going to go in here to the I believe it was the first 2 trials, first 2 or 3. But I know you get them really early in the game, so just basically complete the first island. Like, if you finish up the first island, you're going to get your, be able to get an adrenaline orb. I don't remember exactly which Z crystal it is, but it's just from the first island. Then you're gonna go to the Pokemart. You're gonna go buy some adrenaline orbs, and I already have 19 of them in my bag, so I don't need to buy any more. But they only cost 300 bucks, not very expensive at all. You can stock up on them. Shiny hunting, you probably won't need more than like, I don't know, 20 or 30 or so, like probably for a very long time. You could probably buy 20 of them and they'll last you for a really long time, unless you just seem to really mess this whole method up a lot. Then maybe it could be a little bit different, I don't know, but we're just gonna break down this method here real quick. So what I've got in my party, actually, I'll show you guys the confirmed shiny here. And again, if you guys want to see the video, the reaction, everything, the link will be in the description down below. We did get ourselves a shiny Stuffle, which took about 91 total encounters. Again, go check the video if you guys would like to see it. But took a total of 91 encounters. I do not have a shiny charm at this current time when I'm recording this video, when I'm making this tutorial. I do not have a shiny charm just yet. And I was still able to snag myself this shiny Stuffle here. So what I used was this pincer. Now there's a bunch of different ways different Pokemon you can use. Basically, you just need a false swiper and something that's a decent high enough level. None of my Pokemon are level 100 yet. I believe the Vicavolt's level 70, which is Vikavolt and the Primarina are the highest level Pokemon that I have, but I basically have all attacking moves except for Swords Dance on the pincer. And the Swords Dance was for Pokemon if you go up against Pokemon that have Intimidate, if you go up against Pokemon, for example, like the Stuffle that we had, they had Baby Doll Eyes, which kept dropping my attack. So you're definitely gonna have to have boosted up attack a little bit so that you're able to knock out Pokemon easily. But basically, you definitely want to have a Pokemon with False Swipe, and you want to have your adrenaline orbs in your pocket as well. And then we're gonna actually go ahead and run out here and start hunting for a Grubbin. Because I was actually hunting for a Grubbin on stream, and I didn't hunt for it long enough before my stream ended for me to actually find it. But you never know, we might be able to find it in this little video here, which would be pretty interesting. I think that'd be pretty cool, as a matter of fact. But we're gonna go right here into this grass here and hunt for a Grubbin. And I'll show you guys exactly how the method works. I'll explain it to you guys. I'll break it down for you because a lot of people were saying that things like chains don't matter, and it doesn't matter if you break your chain, etc., etc. Well, I'm here to sort of combat that, but also sort of agree with it at the same time, or agree with the whole term. The thing is, obviously the chains are different in this game than they are in Oris, which chains didn't even really matter in Oris. They truly didn't matter in Oris. But in this game, it's not like an X and Y chain where, every X amount of Pokemon increased your chances to get a shiny. That's not how it really works in this game. In this game, the way it works is you have an ally or Pokemon call in an ally Pokemon, and then that Pokemon has a higher chance of being a shiny each time. On top of the fact that if you chain it for long enough, if you continuously chain it, you have a higher chance of getting a better, a Pokemon with better IVs as well, which is really, really good. Obviously, perfect IVs is all 31 in all 6 IVs, which is great. But it's not likely that you're gonna get that, but if you go for long enough, it is possible that you can get yourself a very, very good, IV Pokemon, and that's what we're gonna, well, I'm not gonna try to do that in this particular video, but that's basically how it works. So if you hear me referring to using the term call chain or breaking the chain or anything like that, it's literally not necessarily about, it being an X and Y chain is just, we just call it call chain. Some people call it a SOS method. There's like 2 or 3 different terms for it. I refer to it as the call chain, and so that's what we're gonna call it. If we can actually ever find a Grubbin, that'd be super cool. Doesn't seem like we're finding a Grubbin here, which I don't know why we can't find this thing. Apparently, weirdly enough, Grubbin is like not really a rare encounter, but a lower percentage of encounter for this route. But this is like one of the very only bushes on this route that it actually shows up in. So we're just gonna run around here for a second, and hopefully we'll find ourselves a Grubbin, and we can sort of explain how this process works, how this method works. I could break down for you guys. And as far as like the complicatedness of the method, how tough it is, it's really not that hard. It's really truly not that hard. It does require you to pay a little bit of attention to what you're doing, but it also doesn't necessarily require you to put in like a ridiculous amount of effort. Like, they did sort of make it a little bit easier, but like I said, that you do have to sort of pay attention to what you're doing, and you end up getting into situations where you have to really keep track of how many moves a Pokemon has, like, you know, what moves it is using, so it doesn't end up struggling itself, because once you false swipe it, it's only got 1 HP, and once you bring it down that low and it struggles, it's definitely gonna knock itself out, and you definitely do not want it to knock itself out. You know, if you have a chance to find the shiny or anything like that, you don't want the Pokemon to knock itself out, you know, accidentally or anything here. And for some reason, I cannot seem to find a Grubbin. I don't know what's going on.
1 eternity later.
Alright, so it finally took me long enough to find this Grubbin, but we did find it. I actually went and corrected. I'm going to correct myself what I said earlier. It is only a 10% chance to find a Grubbin on Route 1. And there's only 2 patches to find it, but that's neither here nor there. So, we are finally here in the battle. So what are we going to do from here? Next, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and click false swipe. We're going to go ahead and click false swipe. Bring it down to 1 HP, let it attack me, let it do whatever it's going to do. It is going to go ahead and use a Vice Grip. Easy peasy. Now, the thing about false swipe or just damaging the Pokemon at all, it does seem to increase the amount of times they call for help. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to call for help and actually get the help at any point. There are different rates for different Pokemon. Every Pokemon has a different call rate, and every Pokemon actually has a different ally actually popping up rate. So not every time that they call Pokemon, you know, this isn't a foolproof way for them to call every single time, but they do definitely call more often after they've been damaged, plus using your Adrenaline Orb. So the more times that they're able to call, the more opportunities you have for a new Pokemon to pop up. So that's really, really good. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go over to our items here. We're going to click Adrenaline Orb. And if you guys don't know what Adrenaline Orb does, yo, I'm going to read it to you real quick. Just the first line is the important line in this particular method here. It says, using it makes wild Pokemon more likely to call for help. So the second part is literally just like in battle. That doesn't actually matter. So we're gonna go ahead and click Adrenaline Orb here. Gonna go ahead and pop the Adrenaline Orb, and it makes the Pokemon nervous. We're gonna use Vice Grip, etc., etc. And now it's gonna go ahead and call in another Pokemon. Now this is why I say it's important for you to damage the Pokemon, and then it's gonna go ahead and bring in another Pokemon as well. So now I'm gonna count that as 1 encounter. There we go. So the thing is here. The reason I say that you want to damage the Pokemon is because even if you weren't using the Adrenaline Orb, it basically doesn't need help from another Pokemon if it's at full HP. It's not scared, or it's not intimidated, or it's not afraid of anything when it's at full HP. So it's very, very less likely for them to call for help if they're at full HP. So you just false swipe it, bring it down to 1 HP, bada bing, bada boom, easy peasy. So the thing you want to make sure is, again, he didn't call anybody there. So now what you're going to want to do is go back to your bag, click the Adrenaline Orb again. You see we have 18 in our bag right now. We're gonna go ahead and click it. It's basically just gonna use up the turn. It's not actually gonna use the Adrenaline Orb, which is why I said you can just buy a couple of them and you should be totally fine. But if you did pay attention, this is what I was saying before, you gotta pay attention to how many moves they're using, what moves exactly they're using. There's another one right there, so we're gonna count that as 2. This thing has used Vice Grip, and it has used String Shot as well. Now Vice Grip I believe has like 20 PP, and I think String Shot has 20 or 25 PP. So you want to be careful. You want to just keep in mind how many moves or how many different moves the Pokemon actually end up using, so that you don't get yourself into a struggle situation where, you know, the Pokemon that you've been using to call chain with ends up knocking itself out because it struggled. You don't want that. You don't want that. It's only at 1 HP here. So it's going to go ahead and use String Shot again. I believe it's used like 2 or 3 String Shots and 2 Vice Grips now, which is good. We're gonna go ahead and call for help again. We're gonna get another Pokemon. We are gonna get another Grubbin, and basically it's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You get into a battle, you pop your adrenaline orb. You get into your battle, you false swipe it, you pop your adrenaline orb, and then you basically just rinse and repeat. You knock out this Pokemon over here. Once you feel that the Grubbin, you know, the original Grubbin that you started with, which should always be on the right side. Actually, it is gonna always be on the right side as the beginning Pokemon that you start with. You just want to keep a track of what moves it's using. You know, look up the moves if you have to. Cerebee's a good you know, place to go for that. You can even check Showdown or whatever. Just look at how much PP wild Pokemon have. Now, for situations like this where, hey, he didn't call in a Pokemon, again, you can do a number of different things just to use up the turn. You can heal a Pokemon, you can revive a Pokemon, you can just pop your adrenaline orb, you can switch Pokemon as well. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and switch Pokemon here. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go out into the Salazzle, right? This is, again, just to waste up a turn so that it does go ahead and call in another Pokemon. And then I'll show you guys what you do once, you know, say we're 25 or 30 calls in, 25 to 30 chain in. We're going to knock out this right Grubbin, and then we're going to start over basically with the left Grubbin. And it is going to go ahead and bring that in, so there we go. So that's number 4. Another thing you have to keep in mind that some Pokemon don't call the same species of Pokemon every single time. So what I'm going to do now is instead of, and now this is again, say we're 30 or 40 encounters in, or maybe not even 35, maybe not even 30, maybe like 25 to 30 encounters in, especially for a low level Pokemon like this. You don't want to go too long. But say we've been a couple of Pokemon in or whatever, and we're like, hey, you know what, this Grubbin, it might be about to run out of moves here, so maybe we should go ahead and knock this thing out. So we're gonna flamethrower the right Grubbin now, knock that thing out, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna swap back into our pincer, and then false swipe the left one again, and basically rinse and repeat, like I said. But this is why I say you have to pay attention to what you're doing. And you see how he's not very likely to call for help right now. He's at full HP. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and waste up another turn by switching back out into our pincer. Just like this. And let's see. And again, it's just all random chance as far as them being at full HP. That's why I say you bring them down, you do a little bit of damage to them, and they are more likely to call for help because they need it. They're low HP, etc, etc. And again, the Grubbin does not call. The adrenaline orb is still active. We're all still good to go. But what I was saying about the different species is some Pokemon will call in different species of another Pokemon. So I believe with Cubone, for example, right? Say you're hunting for a Cubone. A Cubone has like, I think, a 1% chance to call in a Kangaskhan. And even if it calls a Kangaskhan in, it doesn't matter. It does not break your chain. It doesn't end the battle or anything like that. The only thing that you can do to break your chain or to end your chain is to leave the battle or knock out both Pokemon. I mean, knocking out both Pokemon would end the battle either way. So you can either click run or you can knock out both Pokemon, and that is going to end the battle. That's the only way you can break your chain in this game. So if you just keep this up, you want to make sure you have good Pokemon with a lot of PP. One of the best Pokemon apparently is a Smeargle with like Recycle, a Lepiberry to hold, so it you know, renews your PP and everything. A Lepiberry Spore, a physical attack or a special attack. You have to be careful with doing physical moves or special moves depending on what Pokemon that you're hunting, because like I said, with the Stuffle that I got shiny on stream yesterday, I was actually, it's a good thing that I did have some other Pokemon that weren't just physical Pokemon or physical attacks, because they had Baby Doll eyes and they drop your attack a whole heck of a lot. And it was down to the point where my Pinsir at level 40 or 47 or 46 or 47 wasn't able to knock out a level 18 Stuffle with X Scissor. You know what I mean? Obviously it is resisted because it's part, you know, it's normal in fighting and everything, but normally I should be able to knock that thing out no problem at all, but it kept using Baby Doll eyes, so we were in a really weird position. And again, the Grubbin doesn't call for help, so we're gonna go back to our box here, excuse me, back to our bag, click the Adrenaline Orb, and bada bing, bada boom, wait for it to click Vice Grip, and just basically move on about what we're doing. Now, the reason, or not the reason, but another thing that you guys want to have in your bag as well, you want to definitely have a couple of revives in case you're going for Pokemon, for example, like Slandit, that have Dragon Rage. Oh, and I just clicked run on that. That was actually a complete accident. I didn't mean to do that. But again, I wasn't paying attention. I'm talking to you guys, talking about something else. So that's that. But another thing you guys want to be careful of is going up against Pokemon like a Salandit, if you're shiny hunting Salandit, because some Pokemon have Dragon Rage. And if you don't have level 100 Pokemon yet, it's really frustrating to shiny hunt against Pokemon that poison you, against Pokemon that have Dragon Rage, etc, because it doesn't matter what their level is, especially since you have to sit here and basically tank moves from the Pokemon that you're keeping alive at False Swipe range. So you have to be really careful what you're doing when you're shiny hunting. You gotta have some specific Pokemon, like you can get some not synchronized, but Magic Guard Pokemon. You can get synchronized Pokemon for, you know, different natures and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different ways that you can go about it. There's a bunch of different things that you can do in the game. Basically, it's all up to how you feel like playing the game, how you feel like shiny hunting. I would say it's very important to have some potions, some super potions, some max potions, whatever. Some full restores are really good. Revives and max revives are great too, and then you just need those adrenaline orbs. So, you know, if we were to go back and start hunting something else, say we don't get this Grubbin, and we just hop back into it with it's going to be a Spinarak. Say we will start hunting this Spinarak now. Obviously, I'm not going to change the layout and everything just so I can show you guys this example, but say we're hunting this Spinarak now. Again, you just want to basically rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to click False Swipe. And another thing is, it's probably a good idea to just double check some of the moves that, you know, level 5 Spinarak have or different level Pokemon have. Now, see, we're in a situation now where, you know, if it were to use a move like Wrap, this is why I say you want to have, not only do you want your Pokemon to have a decent amount of PP, but you want to be careful when, you know, you have Pokemon that don't let you swap out your Pokemon, essentially. So it's good to have a False Swiper with other moves as well. It's always a good thing to have a False Swiper with other moves. And again, it doesn't call for Pokemon there, but we're gonna go ahead and click Adrenaline Orb again. It's gonna waste up the turn. Has no effect. It's gonna click Constrict. That's fine. And we get another call here. And again, basically, it doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get a call Pokemon or get an ally Pokemon to show up, but, you know, 1 out of 2 times, the first time it didn't go through, but it called instantly again, and now we have another ally Pokemon. So it all depends on how often they actually call. And there, I will put a paste bin to the call rates in the description as well if you guys are interested to know which Pokemon have specific call rates. And the higher the call rate, the better. That means the more they're actually going to call for Pokemon. Now, some Pokemon don't call for the same species of Pokemon really at all. For example, if you wanted to hunt for a shiny Trumbeak, which is Pick-a-Peck's evolution. If you wanted to hunt for a shiny Trumbeak, you could go to the Lush Jungle, which is, I believe, on the second island after the second trial, or at the second trial. You go to the Lush Jungle, and then you just hunt for example, Passimian, or Passimian, however you want to say that Pokemon's name. The only thing they call in are Trumbeaks. I don't know about Oranguru, because that's Pokemon Moon. I don't know about Oranguru, but in Pokemon Sun, Passimian, which is the exclusive for Pokemon Sun, only calls in Trumbeaks. According to everything that I've seen, they only call in Trumbeaks. So if you wanted to hunt for a shiny Trumbeak that way, you could do that. Otherwise, as far as like Passimian goes, you'd have to do most likely random encounters. And of course, if you have the shiny charm, it will increase the opportunity for you to get a shiny. And it increases it, I believe, from 1 in 4096. With the shiny charm, it increases it from 1 in 512. And this is just, you know, the game has only been out for what, 4 or 5 days now. I think 4 days total. So I could be, the numbers might be a little bit different. We still got to give it some time to get the exact numbers, but there is an NPC later in the game that tells you that the shiny chances for you to run into a Pokemon that is shiny just at random, this is not with a shiny charm or anything like that, is 1 in about 4,000. And the about 4,000 actually means 4,096. So with the shiny charm, I believe they increase, like they exponentially increase the chance to find a random encounter shiny from 4,096 to 512. So it's a pretty huge gap. And again, it's one of those things that we don't know if the shiny charm will affect call chaining or not. We don't know if it will affect anything else like that. We don't know if it'll affect Masuda method in this game. We really don't know. We don't have all of that information yet because it just hasn't all been released. But at the very time that I'm recording this, the time you guys are watching this video, when it's uploaded, you know, the time this video is uploaded, this is the best way to shiny hunt outside of Masuda methoding, which is basically the same thing as it used to be. You just hatch your eggs. But that's basically everything that I've got to say about call chaining, about the SOS method, however you want to say it, about shiny hunting in this game. Again, if you guys are interested to see my shiny reaction to this method actually working for a shiny Stuffle that I showed you guys earlier, feel free to check the description down below. It should be the first link in the description. There will also be the paste bin in the description as well if you guys want to see the call rate of certain Pokemon, if you guys are interested. But I think that's about it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider smash the like button down below. If you guys haven't already, get subscribed to the channel. Go check out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/hiimtwit. We will be streaming over there, shiny hunting, wonder trading, battles. We'll be doing a whole bunch of stuff with Pokemon Sun and Moon. The game is amazing. I'm excited. I wish you guys all the best of luck in your shiny hunts. With that being said, it's been Twit. I'm gonna knock out the spinner rack, and we're out of here. Peace!